Mr. Green.
I'm found to be the nicest. On the mic it with rhyme writing. My mind states gone cipher divine righteous. This is the sound of refinement. Extra time spent on every line written. You can hear the difference when I'm rhyming. The barbarian rap writings like Clash of the Titans. I wield the pen like Poseidon holding the golden triton. On the mic I strike faster than vipers and flashes of bolts of lightning. My poetry will leave the Pope enlightened. Whack rappers is past time. You paid the Pied Piper. As the price just skyrocket, I stand to make a profit. I rap circles and spirals above your favorite artist.
And welcome into Real Deal Sports Talk with KP. It is April 13th, 2019. We are 12 days away from the draft. We've got smoke screens, lies, true stories, players falling, players not falling, players on the rise, GMs making noise, head coaches having comments, quarterbacks, former coaches, and controversies. But the draft is 12 days away, and just like every year at the draft, we're going to do our Facebook Live after the first round of the draft this year. We'll have that out. And then we'll do our special draft recap show on Sunday following. Give me a little bit of time to kind of look through everything, see how I feel about how everybody did, see how I feel about how my team did, the local team here did. And then, yeah, we'll have a couple more shows that weekend after the draft, so that'll be fun. Looking forward to that. Draft is exciting. I really enjoy the draft time. I enjoy all the ups and downs. I enjoy when there's trades, the way teams try to maneuver. And it's just fun to see. I think you can see teams that know what they're doing and teams that don't. You can see teams that are going to get better, and you can see teams that are going to stay where they're at. It's draft to draft. It's not always one team every year who nails it and knocks it out of the park. The Colts knocked it out of the park last year. 2 draft picks, all pros. You can't ask for more than that out of a draft class. This year, will we have 1 all-pro out of anybody's draft class? Which team's going to, maybe jump from 4th in the division to the top of the division or top of the conference? Who's going to go from an underdog to a contender? Will these draft picks actually pan out on any level? Because from pick 1 to the very last pick in the draft, Mr. Irrelevant, they are all a crapshoot. Yes, you have a higher percentage, in theory, of the guys at the top of the round, the top of the draft, panning out into something. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. I don't care what statistic you want to throw out about what player, what position drafted at this point in the draft, drafted at this point in this round. None of it is certain. That's what makes it exciting for me. That's what gives it life. The fact that none of it is certain. You're guessing. It's your best guess. You're hoping it pans out. You're wishing it does. You want to get that championship. Will these combination of players, will this combination of strategy, will this combination of coaching get us to where we ultimately all want to be at the beginning of the season? That's one of the funniest questions you hear around this time and around the beginning of OTAs and training camp is, what are the goals for your team? Well, it's to win the Super Bowl, duh. Or to win the championship, the NBA Finals, the World Series. We're not coming into any series as a professional athlete, any season as a professional athlete, and going, we'd like to, 500 seems good for this season, We're thinking we're going to cut it back a little bit, and, we don't want to really go full bore this season, so we're going to half-ass it and just kind of see where we go. Like, that's one of the dumbest questions we hear all the time, every year for every sport. What's your goals? Well, that's simple. We want to have the best team. We want to win the championship. Stop asking that question. We know what the goals are. Nobody's going to go out there and give some answer like, I want to break the individual sack record. I want to be Defensive Player of the Year. I want to be MVP. I want to get a couple commercials and some more endorsements. And I want to set my family up. And I. Those people, they generally don't pan out. They generally don't make it to that level. Now, do the guys who make it to that level do all of those things? Is it something they're conscious of? Of course. Of course it is. Fox Sports put out a little graphic this week. The first overall pick, how many per team, and the teams with the most, the Colts and the Rams, both at 7 all time. Both have had 7 first overall picks in the draft. Teams with the fewest, Seattle, Baltimore, Jacksonville, and Denver, have never had the first overall pick in an NFL draft. You have 3 teams with 5. You have 4 teams with 4 times. 6 teams have done it 3 times. 5 teams have done it twice, and 8 teams have had the first overall pick 8 times. 8 teams have done that once. And what's funny, I was just talking about this the other day. I was watching a video I think NFL Films put out, and it was who's had the number 1 overall pick, or who was the number 1 overall pick each of the last 30 seasons. And I got done watching this little 5-6 minute video and thinking to myself, wow, I saw Cincinnati and Cleveland in there a lot. Like, had to have been 7-8 times in the last 30 years. Well, looking at this graphic that Fox Sports put out, Cleveland's had 5 all time, and Cincinnati's had 3. So probably all 8 of those have been in the last 30 years. I'd have to go back and check to see if Cleveland had one outside of that span. But, yeah, they've had a lot of number 1 overall picks in the state of Ohio over the last 30 years. My Lions have had 4 number 1 overall picks. The Patriots, 4. They're right there at 4 all time. So as much as they dominated lately, that just goes to show they weren't always that team. Raiders have only had it once. Kansas City only once. The Chargers only once. So the AFC West, even going back, adding Seattle into it, the AFC West as a total, with those 5 teams from when that division till now, and I know Seattle's in the NFC West now, they only have 3 out of those teams to ever get the number 1 overall pick 3 times. That's pretty impressive for a division all time. Can't wait to see what's going to happen this year. I expect some wheeling and dealing. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes I'm more surprised when it doesn't happen. But 12 days away, oh, can't wait. I can't wait. I'm going to be sitting there Thursday night watching it, taking notes, getting ready for the Facebook Live, getting ready for the recap show on Sunday. And I hope you guys have time to tune in either to me and or the draft coverage and check it out. See what your favorite team's doing. See what everybody else is doing. Get hyped for the season. We got other seasons. They're coming to a close right now. You know, we got Major League Baseball. It's starting. NHL, we got the playoffs starting. It's coming to a close. NBA, we got the playoffs starting tonight. Season coming to a close. Now, who are the matchup for the NBA playoffs that are kicking off today? What games are kicking off today? We have Brooklyn and Philadelphia, Orlando, Toronto, Golden State, LA Clippers, and San Antonio, Denver kicking off today. Those are the games today. Now, the full matchup for Eastern and Western Conference are as follows. In the East, you have the number 1 seed Milwaukee Bucks taking on the number 8 seed Detroit Pistons. This will be a fun series. I don't think I have one series where it's not going to go 6, 7 games. You might find one that'll go 5. I expect this one to go 5 or 6. Detroit's going to fight. They don't have the talent really to stick with Milwaukee, to stick with Giannis, to stick with Singleton. And Milwaukee's been playing good defense. They've been playing team ball all year. I do think you take Giannis off that roster, and maybe Milwaukee's down in that 7-8 range in the East. They're not the number 1 seed. But I like this series. I'll make my picks here after we go through all the games. But I like this series. I think it goes 5 or 6, and I think Detroit can give them enough of a headache with their 2 big guys, with Drummond and with Griffin, that it just makes it an interesting matchup. And Giannis is going to have to lead that team throughout the playoffs. Milwaukee will go as far as he takes them. So as good as he's been all season, filling up the stat sheet, getting points, rebounds, assists, blocks, playing defense, all that stuff that put him in the MVP conversation, they will go as far as he goes. He's going to have to, step up the game now. He's done it in the regular season. Now it's playoff time. Time to raise your game up on another level. Put your team on your back. Take that Superman logo that Shaq's passing to you, put it on your chest, and go out there and do what you got to do to move the Milwaukee Bucks forward in the playoffs and ultimately try and get that NBA championship. Right now, the Detroit Pistons are the first team in your path to take place. They kind of backed in. They got in last seed into the playoffs. This should be an easy matchup. You got the 2-seed Toronto Raptors taking on the Orlando Magic, another division winner. 2 division winners in this matchup. Pretty cut and dry who has the advantage in this one. One team is clearly better than the other one. The bottom part of the eastern side of the playoff bracket is fairly weak this season. Like it is, unfortunately to say, hate to say it, not trying to be a hater, it is weak most seasons in the Eastern Conference on the bottom side of those teams that get in. This should be a fairly easy series for the Toronto Raptors. This is one you could see maybe going 5 games. This one, you might even see Toronto go 4 in this one and just sweep them right out. They kick off today. Philadelphia and Brooklyn. Philadelphia was a contender at the beginning of the season. They had some good players throughout the season. They never really, in my opinion, fulfilled the heights of what we thought they were going to be when this collective came together with the way Joel Embiid was supposed to be playing, with Ben Simmons, superstar status before he became a superstar, adding in a Jimmy Butler. Never fully gelled there. Good enough to get the 3 seed, dangerous enough to beat anybody in the East. This one probably goes 6. Philadelphia, to me, is not mentally strong enough to just wipe people out. They don't have that killer instinct where we're better than you and we're just going to go out there and end this. They like to just play the game with everybody, it seems like. They're going to play at your level. They're going to score at your level. They're going to play defense at your level. I don't think they can got in this series. Again, the teams in the lower half of the East are not that good. Then Boston is taking on Indiana. This one I would have had as an upset because Boston's the 4 seed and Indiana's the 5 seed. But with Oladipo out, I don't see Indiana having a way to win this series. They don't have a guy who can really step up and score enough to keep up with all of the ways Boston could potentially come at you in this series. Boston has too many players. They have more experience. So ultimately, when this series kicks off tomorrow, I think that one's pretty one-sided. Again, Indiana probably gets 1-2 games. I don't think that one has a chance of going to 7. You never know. But the top 4 seeds in the East are really the better teams that are there in the East. Now, in the West, you've got Golden State against L.A. kicking off tonight on ABC. The other games that are on today are all on ESPN. Actually kicking off here just shortly. Brooklyn and Philadelphia will be kicking off here in about a half hour. So if you got time and all your sports watching, everything, you got your errands done, you got to the grocery store, you get your stuff done around the house, you got a day full of basketball. We're going to talk about the Masters here in a little bit. Baseball's going, so there's all kind of sports you could be watching. So get some stuff done and then sit back and enjoy some of these games that are be taking place. Golden State's taking on the Clippers tonight on ABC. This should be a pretty easy one. I know some people are out there saying that Golden State, it looks like this could be the season they implode. This could be the season that they have somebody knocks them out in the West before they get to the finals. We'll see. They're clearly the best team. They're in a situation where if Steph is off, KD can go do it. If KD's off, Klay can go do it. If Klay's off, Steph can go do it. If 2 of them are going, you're probably not going to beat them. And if 3 of them are all on, you've got no chance. So this is still the team to beat. They're still the defending champs. Yes, Houston almost got him last year, but guess what? That's almost. That only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. It doesn't matter what they did last year. This is this year. It's different teams. The teams are playing differently. The combination of guys is different. But they are still the team sitting at the top of the throne that can throw out 2, 3 of the best shooters of all time. And if you don't come out there with the best team defense for 48 minutes, your best offense that you can muster for 48 minutes, and you're not running them and you're not putting them in a position where they have to rush or try and get off hard shots, you're not going to stand a chance. Now, the Clippers got into the playoffs. They played a lot better in the second half of the season. They got further than a lot of us thought they could. None of us really pegged them as a playoff team. Now they got in there. They're probably going to be one and done. Let's face it. They're probably going to be one and done. Maybe that one you could also see going as a sweep. But I think that's probably a 5-6 game series. 6 if the Clippers are lucky. Then you got the 2 seed Denver Nuggets taking on the San Antonio Spurs. That one kicks off today in Denver. That'll be the last game of the day. Kicking off at 8:30 Mountain Time, so 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific Time. This one I think will be a good series, go 6 or 7 games. Popovich ultimately is the X factor in this one that keeps San Antonio in it. Denver tied for the best home record in all of basketball this year. They have home court in this one. They have more players on their team. They have not been playing their best basketball for the last month and a half, 2 months of the season. It's not the same team that we saw throughout January, February. Into March, they started losing it a little bit. Into February, the wheels started coming off. Maybe guys were getting tired. Focus wasn't quite there. The rotation was a little bit different. Trying to get injured guys back into the lineup, trying to see if you can fit Isaiah Thomas in somewhere, and it kind of just got a little bit derailed along the way, started getting ejections and different fouls at the end of the season, resting guys here and there, and all that kind of stuff that went on. They got the 2 seed. They earned the 2 seed. They were able to hold on to the 2 seed with the way things shook out at the end of the season. And now what you're going to need to see from the Denver Nuggets is for them to somehow try to find that focus, that same gameplay that they had early on in the season. And for most of the season as they were carrying that 1 seed, and be able to carry that out in this series into the second round where they can find themselves maybe into a Western Conference final and with some things break the right way, get into an NBA Finals for the first time. I think this is going to be a fun series to watch. If you got time tonight, tune in. Portland against OKC. I like this series a lot. Portland, the much higher seed, the 3 seed against Oklahoma City, who faded down the stretch, went from the 3 and 4 seed at one point where the 8 seed got back up to the 6 seed. Paul George, Russ Westbrook, they're going to come playing hard. They're going to come focused. They're going to come ready. This Portland team, they've had some injuries at the end of the season. They're playing pretty well. OKC won 4 straight, swept Portland in the regular season pretty handily in most of the games. 7, 8, 10 points or more in that range, all 4 games. I expect this one to be competitive. This could easily go 7. This could be a back and forth type thing. Portland with home court definitely gives them a little bit of an advantage here. It's hard to beat a team 8 times in one season without them getting a couple victories or getting back at you. So expect that to be a highly contested series. And then you've got Houston taking on Utah, the 4 and 5 seeds. This one could be good. This one could be good. I could argue either way for either one of these teams to win this series. You know what Houston's going to bring. You know they're James Harden dominated on offensive side of the ball. You know that you have to play ticky-tack, hands-off style, somehow get in the way without touching them defense because of all the calls they get. You know that Chris Paul is going to argue for calls. And Utah, they've got a young team. They've got a team that's very up and down. They've got a team that crawled back into the 5th seed. They were out of the playoff race for a good part of the season. We were sitting here kicking back going, okay, where's Utah? We expected them based on what they did last year, the way they got into the playoffs, the way they took us by storm last year, to take a step this year and be that 3-4-2 seed. Now, they, like we said, they got back into the 5th seed. They climbed back in the second half of the year. They started playing better basketball. Donovan Mitchell started scoring a little bit more. They started mixing it up. Grayson Allen started getting a little involved. Gobert started doing a little bit more. And everything started clicking for him a little bit. Now they're running into this team. The Houston Rockets can score lights out. Broke their own record for most three-pointers in the game again. I think 27, 28 three-pointers in the game the other night. And they can put up crazy offensive numbers. But you can also have them shoot themselves out of games. And Houston's the kind of team that can get you to shoot yourself out of a game, and then they can be sneakily deceptive on offense, like Donovan Mitchell the other night against Denver, where he put up 46 points. And they can sneak up on you and beat you. So this could be a fun series, too. I got to go in 6. I'm excited that the playoffs are here. So those are the matchups. We got 4 games today, like I said. Here's who I have winning each of the first-round matchups. I'm taking Milwaukee, Toronto, 76ers, and the Celtics. So I got the top 4 seeds in the East all advancing. That would put Milwaukee, Boston in the second round, and Toronto, Philadelphia in the second round as well. In the West, I have Golden State, Denver, OKC beating Portland, and Houston. Again, I could really see Utah getting through in this series and beating Houston, but I'll take Houston for now. That's my pick. Not for now. I'll just take Houston flat out. So I got one upset on either side, East or West, with OKC beating Portland. Hey, they're here. Let's see it. This is why. I mean, prediction's a prediction. They got to go out and play. They got to go out and make it happen. I'm just glad the playoffs are here. We got, a month and a half, 2 months before a champion maybe is crowned here, depending on how the series links break out. Let's see. Sports. Who put this graphic out? Sportsline put out their probability to win the NBA Finals. They have Golden State at 70.4%. I don't know if there's a little bias going on here or what's up with that, but nobody else even has a double-digit chance, according to them, to win the NBA Finals. The next highest is Milwaukee at 8.4%. They got Boston at 5.4%, Denver at 3.8%, Toronto only at 2.7%, and then nobody else even has a 2% chance, according to them, with 2, 4, 6, 7 teams that are in the playoffs having less than a 1% chance, according to them, to win the NBA Finals. So we'll see if they have any little special insight that led them to those numbers as the playoffs go on as well. Other big news, obviously, this week in the NBA, in the basketball world, was the retirement, the walking away, the removal of Magic Johnson as the president of basketball operations for the Los Angeles Lakers. At first, when I was watching the press conference, it reminded me of the press conference when he came out and announced that he had HIV. I don't know why. Maybe it was because he was walking away again. I don't really remember his second retirement conference after he came back from the HIV announcement and played that short stint in, I think, 92 or 94, whenever that was. But that's the first thing that popped into my head. Okay, Magic's leaving the game again. He's not going to be around the game. He's going to be this celebrity. He's going to be this businessman. He's going to be a deal maker again. He's going to be the smiling guy that gives the interviews, that knows everybody in each sport, in each arena of life, and shake hands and smiles and does this and that. Which is great. He did that very well. There's nothing wrong with that. He is an ambassador. He is a relationship builder. And that's probably something that he's better suited at. Adrian Wojnarowski covered this story really well, I think, and reported on the fact that, Magic often wasn't putting all of his effort into his job with the Lakers, and he had so many other strings that were pulling him this direction, that direction. Magic alluded to that in his exit. It wasn't even really a press conference, in his exit conversation with a couple media members that he knew, and that he can't be Magic Johnson in it. This job's not as fun for him, and he wants to go back to being fun, and he knows he's not giving everything to the team, and that, I think he has some guilt there because of his closeness to the Buss family and everything that they meant to his life from a young man to this day. I don't like the way that he did it. I don't like that he didn't speak to the team or, the big free agent in LeBron that you brought in, or even Jeanie Buss. I mean, you don't owe anybody anything, but it would have been nice. It would have made the story better. It would have been more heartfelt instead of making it seem like you were tucking tail and running away because it got hard or it wasn't working out and the free agents weren't just coming because you're Magic Johnson. So I haven't fully come to grips with how I feel about him, the way he did it. The fact that he did it, I think it's fine. I think it's something that needed to happen. Like Adrian Wojnarowski was reporting, if he's not putting in the hours, then that's not something he needs to be spending his time doing. He needs to go fulfill his life in a way that he can't. Now, he loves the Lakers organization. He loves basketball. He's thought multiple times over when he was the coach, when he has had other roles with the team, that that's what he wanted to do. And maybe for a time period it was. But they need somebody in that organization that's going to be into it 100%. I don't think Rob Pelinka should move up to the president of basketball operations from GM. I would honestly clean house. I would remove him as well. I'd go, and if I'm the Lakers, I'm trying to get somebody like Usai Ujiri, who has now built 2 teams into playoff contenders, or that is young, that has made connections throughout the league, that's, been there and done that. Try and reestablish who we are in LA, in the NBA, get another superstar or 2 in there with LeBron, keep some of the young talent, get a coach in there, not somebody that everybody wants to just say is a pawn of LeBron's, but get a coach in there. I like Mark Jackson as that coach. I don't know why he's not getting more coaching opportunities. He started the whole foundation of what Golden State is. And, Magic will ultimately be an afterthought. He'll always be one of the greatest Lakers. He'll always be, Magic. But it was time. He knew it was time, and he did it the way he thought was best, whether we agree with it, whether I agree with it, whether I like it, you like it, or not. He did what he did for him, ultimately for the Lakers, because he knows what they need to get to where they want to be, and he wasn't going to be able to provide that. So, moving on, best for both worlds. Last thing we got today, let's look at the Masters leaderboard right now as the Masters kicked off on Thursday. A lot of names at the top of the leaderboard right now. Adam Scott, Brooks Koepka. Koepka's been playing lights out for, the last 5-6 majors. You got him tied for first. Right now, the lead is 7 under. You have 5 guys there at 7 under. You have another host of guys at 6 under. That includes Tiger Wood, Jason Day's at 7 under, Justin Harding's at 6 under, Dustin Johnson's at 6 under, Ricky Fowler's at 5 under, Justin Thomas 5 under, Phil Mickelson 5 under, Ian Poulter's 5 under. So a lot of names at the top of the Masters board. They're going to be teeing off here shortly. I think there's coverage on NBC or CBS today. You check your local listings. Anytime Tiger's in it, it's way more interesting. We saw that again yesterday. He had to make a miraculous shot. He makes this shot. He's stepping forward. The crowd's stepping forward. Security guard comes running through. He slips trying to stop to avoid hitting Tiger. In doing so, he clips Tiger's foot. almost hurts his ankle. Tiger has to walk it off. It seems like Tiger's okay. We'll see how he does in his round today and if there's any lingering effects from the contact from that security guard. I would bet if he hasn't been dismissed from the rest of the Masters, he's at least been reassigned to a different post as opposed to being out on the course with the players, because that was an absolute gaffe. That makes Augusta National look bad. That makes the coverage look bad when you almost wipe out one of the better players in the game. So far, there's some pretty good scores coming out of today's play. You've got Patrick Cantlay, he's 8 under on the day. He got himself to 6 under so far. Tony Finau, he's 3 under on the day. Hideki Matsuyama is 6 under on the day so far. You've got Henrik Stenson's 5 under on the day. Matthew Fitzpatrick's 4 under on the day. So there's some good scores coming in today. This is typically a tournament where you can have somebody at 10 under, 15 under, win this tournament. The low scores are fun. This course offers a lot of great shots. So you're going to see some of these other players that are kicking off here later, the Tiger Woods, the Jason Days, the Brooke Koepkas, the Adam Scotts. If these scores for these other players are holding true throughout the day, we could see some really good golf this afternoon with these guys who still have yet to tee off. So enjoy your day. Get some stuff done. If you got sun, go out, kick it, enjoy it in the sun. Watch some sports. It's all love. Until next time, you know how we do. Just be real.
D-Town, can you vibe to this? A D-Town getting down to this. Can you get down to this? The party's rocking and the crowd was lit. The beats knocking in the sound system. And D-Town's in here. We hit the lick to get some crown to sip. The pivot's hitting like a pound of bricks. Took a powerful rip. It felt like a time traveler trip. My mind drifting to the cloudy abyss. Took my chalice and sip. Chicks admire how I'm styling my fit. I acknowledge with the smile of a prince. Can tell I'm piling my chips. The party's rocking, everybody was bent. Nobody wildin', ain't no violence in here. We all lounging for real. The smooth sounds got us vibing and shit. In D-Town, steady riding to this. Can you get down to this? The party's rocking and the crowd was lit. The beats knocking in the sound system. In D-Town's in here. We hit the lick to get some crown to sip. The pivot's hitting like a pound of bricks. Can you get down to this? The party's rocking and the crowd is lit. The beats knocking in the sound system. In D-Town's in here. We hit the lick to get some crown to sip. The pivot's hitting like a pound of bricks. Can you get down to
living
this?
life to the fullest, it's an everyday philosophy. Walk up in the spot and get the party popping properly. Ain't no beef now, we just chilling inside. All the energy is positive, we feeling that vibe. Politicking with my people, we get the reminiscing how we flip the whole script. Now we in better position, still be on a mission, turning dreams to fruition. Getting street knowledge, no fees, intuition. Think about the future, how we need to teach children. Already reached thousands, we about to reach millions. Break the glass ceiling, how your ass feeling? Like a superhero on these comic book villains in the Mile High City. You know we stay blazing. I'm high off this life though, the feeling is amazing. Never had nothing, now every day is celebrated. Glasses elevated tonight.
Can
we
you
get
get down to
elevated.
this? The party's rocking and the crowd was lit. The beats knocking in the sound system. And D-Town's in here. We hit the lick to get some crown to sip. The pivot's hitting like a pound of bricks. Can you get down to this? The party's rocking and the crowd is lit. The beats knocking in the sound system. And D-Town's in here. We hit the lick to get some crown to sip. The pivot's hitting like a pound of bricks. Can you get down to this?